your road.
Is there anybody who doesn't know who I am? Anthony Scaglione, 125 Curlew Road, President.
Ed Manley, 300 Heron Road.
John Armstrong, 189 Flamingo Road.
83 Curlew.
I don't know, I didn't hear it.
Good. We're supposed to be telling them who you are. What street
Oh, who you are,
okay.
okay.
Another block captain.
George Cole, 329 Kingfisher.
There's a block captain sitting in the first row also. Please stand up and let them know who you are.
Frank Fade, 82 Curlew.
Bill Sofield, 28 Agner Road.
Paul Suarez, 263 Heron Road.
As you can see, most of the people are on the side of Green Street that's been having lagoon problems of late. The intent was to let the other people on the other side of Green Street know that they're welcome and we want them involved. This is not a one-issue situation. It's not just the lagoons. And I figure I might as well just make it clear right now. I've been getting a lot of feedback that a lot of people are worried that their $25 is supporting a lawyer that has been hired by some of the people with lagoon problems, and that is not true. Okay? The $25 is for the association, and we want the association to sustain itself, and I'll get into that later on what's involved. But the lawyer is concerned with a group of people who are involved with the lagoons, and they pay for that separately. And I just wanted to make that point known, and hopefully anybody who had that question now feels better about where that $25 is going. So I guess the next thing we're going to talk about is bylaws. We've come up with a set of bylaws, and some of that has been handed out. We made some copies, and we handed them out to people who pass around and maybe look at them. Like I said, you didn't give them out yet. Yeah, well, what we want you to do is, if you get a chance to look through it, if you have some time, look through it, and if you have any exceptions to anything, you'll be able to state it during the public session. I don't think we have had some help from an attorney who is a resident, and I haven't met him personally, and if he's here, I'd like to thank him. Also, you know, if it turns out that anybody can help in any way in an organizational matter, their help is welcome. I guess now we'll get to the treasurer's report so people can find out where the money is.
As of this morning, our bank balance was...
I think you have to stand up and scream.
As of this morning, our bank balance was $3,746.16. Our expenditures were $83.84. That included printing of the membership cards, a rubber stamp for canceling the checks, and we have a post office box. If anyone needs the post office box number, it's Tuckerton Beach Association, box 1245, Tuckerton.
That information will come out later in the newsletter, and we'll talk about the newsletter also.
That's the extent of it.
You want a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
Yes. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. I guess what we have to do is we have to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report, and being the rookie that I am,
I make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I second the motion.
Been moved and seconded.
The secretary has to get the name.
see, I appreciate this input. I never claimed I knew everything of what I was doing.
The name of the person?
John Franzoni.
And who seconded it?
Marion McKenzie.
There's another thing. one of the options, we have to record these meetings, okay? And one of the ways to do it was the way to do it in town council meetings with an audio tape. I also thought that maybe we could videotape it too, because this way we would know who said something instead of trying to recognize voices, because we have to, you know, we're not necessarily professionals yet at how we're going to have these procedures go and make sure that we keep all the records. Does anybody have any problems with a video camera going as a record? And I'm just, you know, giving you a chance to express right now if you have a problem with that.
Just give my best shot.
Okay.
All right, so I just wanted for the record to show that nobody objected to it, and it's only being used for record purposes. We're not spying on you.
That's good.
Okay, I guess according to the agenda, now's my chance to say what's been on my mind since the middle of July, actually beginning of February.
Yeah, first and second on most, I vote.
Well, I thought that was done.
No.
With respect to the treasurer's report, it was approved. Motion that it was approved. Now I guess the membership has to vote on it just by raising hands. That's close.
That's it. You got it.
Jason, you should do that one in the video too. Ask for
He's got it going right now.
Yeah,
So hopefully he got that.
it's there.
What is this? It's no big deal. Okay, I came up with a list of important topics that I felt I wanted to let you know. First of all, one of the questions that I figured a lot of people had is, you know, who the hell is Anthony Scaglione? I'm a summer resident here since I was born, 1961. So I've been here since Tuckerton Beach started. I'm not someone, you know, I had a reaction from some people where they said, you new people moving down here, you're trying to, you know, tell us what to do, and, you know, people don't like to be told what to do from new people. I'm not a new person here. If anybody remembers that's been here a while, who remembers the Tuckerton Beach Club that used to exist, my family was involved in that also. And I'm sure a lot of people, there were some people who had questions of whatever happened to that, and if there are, we have answers for you. My father was involved with that. He was an officer in that club, so he can answer any questions that have to do with that. His name's Ralph. Okay, why did I get involved in this? I can't scream like this. My voice is already gone. Let me know if you can hear me by talking. Use the microphone. My voice can't take it. Can you hear? Just talk. Okay, one of the reasons I got involved in this is because I was getting sick of the widespread apathy that was rampant in this community. Every person I talked to had a complaint, probably more than one complaint, maybe 10 complaints, but yet nobody ever does anything about it. Well, now we're getting a chance, and it's in our hands, and if anybody has any complaints after this, and they're not a member or they don't attend the meetings, then they have no excuse, because everything is there for them now, and hopefully it'll be permanent. I attended my first town council meeting in February, and it was pretty sickening to see our representation there. There was maybe 3 people, and then, you know, you hear later on, well, I didn't know that, or how did that happen? I didn't hear what's going to happen that way. Well, if you don't know what's going on, it's because you're not represented. And that was another thing that led me to do this. Another thing that bothered me was the misrepresentation of facts. Rumors spread everywhere, but they seem to spread real good in Tuckerton. You know, even the newspapers don't get things right all the time, and a lot of people seem that they read the newspapers and they think they know everything. When I stood up at the first meeting, I said I was representing my grandmother at the meeting, and the newspaper said I was a lawyer representing a resident. Well, I'm not a lawyer, so they were wrong. Okay, I happen to be an engineer, if that means anything. That's why I feel that I think I was able to have some kind of input into what happened with these so-called, and I use the word so-called, engineering plans. Another reason why I got involved, probably the most important reason, was I lost 4 feet of water in front of my dock. Okay? And I lost that 4 feet of water, even though a state permit specifically said that no mud was supposed to be dumped in my lagoon because it wasn't deep enough to accept mud. Okay? I'm not claiming that just my lagoon should have been dumped in. I don't think any lagoon should have been dumped in. Okay? Originally, when this plan started, the mud was supposed to be removed. Okay? That didn't happen because of reasons that the borough claims that the state wouldn't let them do it. Well, as you all know, at least the people who were affected by the lagoons, we are paying for those lagoons ourselves. No one else is paying them. Only the people who live on those lagoons are paying for it. So when they decided to change the plans, I think it would have been nice for us to know. Well, I said that at a town council meeting. They told me that it was published in the local newspaper. I don't know how many of you get the local newspaper where you live, but I live in Long Island and I don't get it. So I didn't know. It's my fault. If I own a house, if I got an investment, I should be keeping on top of it. I'm not blaming anybody. All I'm saying is that won't happen again if we have this association, and that's the purpose of the newsletter. Anybody who has to drive into the area of Flamingo, Curlew, Little Lake, and Heron Road, are you sick of driving over that patch of road between Green Street and Little Lake? What has to be done to get that fixed? We have to work on that. That's another problem.
You're working on your code. She's gone.
There's also a problem with flooding in the streets and these sewers.
Right.
You know, if some people have lagoon front property, and some people have, I don't know what you want to call that. Lakefront. Okay? That's another problem. It's been like that for years, and you know, one person's, the lakes are still there. And I'm sure this one will probably agree with, you all agree with this one. Who here is sick of being an endless source of money by the borough and then getting a minute percent of your tax dollar back in services? I think records show, and I would say, I think what was stated at one of the council meetings, 58% of the revenues that the borough of Tuckerton raises in taxes comes from the community called Tuckerton Beach. What you get back percentage-wise, your guess is as good as mine. Okay, that's why I got involved. What have I done in the past 7 months? If anybody doesn't know it, I made the initial phone call to the DEP when I was informed that there was a pipe in front of my house dumping mud for 3 weeks. Thanks to the help of a resident who lives here all year round, John Falaska, I'm sure everybody knows who he is. He was there so that when the DEP came down to investigate the complaint, somebody would be there. Well, I'm talking to this guy on the phone. He's an enforcement officer from the Coastal Enforcement Agency of the DEP, and I asked him, you know, they're dumping in front of my house, and my neighbor says they've been doing it for 3 weeks, something's not right, I want it investigated. He goes, what lagoon? No, he asked me, what lagoon did I live on? I said, I don't know, I live on Curlew Road. He said, which side of Curlew Road? I said, the second lagoon. He said, that's Curlew Lagoon. He says, you can't live on Curlew Lagoon. I said, you're telling me where I live? I live on Curlew Road on Curlew Lagoon. He says, well, the permit says they're not supposed to be dumping in that lagoon. I survived the initial coronary, and then I called him. That started the ball rolling for a pile of paperwork that's about this high. Okay, that involved the permits, it involved the surveys, it involved the engineering drawings, it involved the post-surveys after the job was so-called completed. And just so you know, Little Lake Harbor Lagoon, which is between Little Lake Harbor Boulevard and Curlew Road, was finished. Flamingo Lagoon, which is between Flamingo Road and Heron Road, was finished. They were paid for. Okay? They are now removing 10,000 cubic yards of mud from those lagoons, okay? You want to know why they're removing those lagoons? The mud from those lagoons? It's because of this, and the pressure that was put on them.
Will that be an annual fee, $25 annual dues or annual donation, or is it a one-time donation? What's the...
The $25 fee is going to be an annual association dues. And just so you know, the club that used to exist in 1960 had a $25 fee.
Right.
I think the $25 is a little bit more affordable now than it was in 1960. The whole intent was to keep it affordable. Okay? We're not looking to build a bank account because what are we going to do with a bank account?
Go to the beach.
Well, later on, if we find out that there are certain goals that we want to set, someone said build a beach. Well, if you've read the Tuckerton Beacon, that's one of the things that's on a lot of people's mind here, on both sides of the issue. Well, I don't want to open this to the public forum yet. You'll have a chance in a second, okay?
Wait a minute, I have to read.
Okay, all right.
That $25, what is that, just for information?
No, the $25 has to pay for membership cards. It has to pay for mailing lists. What the block captains, what they're going to do is they're going to have a mailing list of the members on their block.
You just stated that if anybody has a problem, they should seek the lawyer themselves.
That's not what I said. I said the Tuckerton Beach Association is at the disposal for information and help, and within the Tuckerton Beach Association, a committee could be formed to address a particular problem. Okay? And then with all the information and the help of the association, if it turns out that a lawyer has to be used, the people who are going to be using the lawyer, obviously, are going to have to pay for it. The same way I'm doing it right now. Okay. That's another thing. You'll get answers here, as opposed to some other meetings. Okay, now another question is, how real is the association? Up until this morning, when people started walking in the door, we had approximately 150 members. Okay? Out of those 150 members, there were a good, not a majority, but a good percentage were permanent residents. And I will get into why that's important later. And that's another one of the goals of the association. We have a checking account at the local bank. It has a tax ID number. We're in the process right now of incorporating, with the help of a lawyer who is a member and a part of the community. There are 3 people right now who are eligible or allowed to sign checks for the association. Those 3 people are the president, the treasurer, and the secretary. And those 3 people will be bonded by an insurance company to handle the money, just the way the bank teller is bonded. Okay? 2 signatures are necessary to sign a check that allows association money to be spent. And I made sure that 2 of the people on the list are permanent residents. And that's Bill, the treasurer, and Mary, the secretary. So they're here all the time. We're also going to be a non-profit organization. What else do we have? We have a president, we have a vice president, we have a treasurer, we have a secretary, and we have 3 trustees. Now it's 4. We just picked up another one. We have 4 trustees. All right. So who are the trustees again, so that people know? Ed Manley,
John.
Jack.
No. Francis Hoffman, Frank Schultz, John Armstrong, George.
George is an alternate.
George is an alternate.
He's also a block captain.
I can't read it right.
Another important thing is we have a post office box. The post office box, you'll get the information on that in the first newsletter. The purpose of the post office box is if you have something that you want the association to know about, you have a place to mail your input. If we have to get a membership vote or something, let's say during the winter when people aren't around, we can send out mail saying there's an important issue that has to be addressed. We'd like to know what you think. We want your input, your vote. You send it to the post office box, and we know. Okay. One thing that really annoys me is, and I guess maybe it shouldn't annoy me, is I've had some feedback that everybody wants to know. They got where's the 25 bucks going? It was asked here, and I hope it's answered, but this proves right here that it's not someone going around picking your money and you're not going to hear from them again. The hardest person to deal with is someone who's been here a long time, because they know we've tried things in the past 15, 20 years when there wasn't an association, and a fight might happen to try and accomplish something and it doesn't happen. But these people, all they did was give them money and you never heard from them again. Okay? They never came to find out what happened. They never came to find out if they could help. Okay? And when nothing happened, they thought their money got ripped off. It's partially their fault because they didn't get involved. Someone might not have the time. It's the purpose of the association. You have somebody representing you, you have a mailbox, all it takes is to write a letter and stamp it. We're also going to have a published newsletter. I was talking to somebody who is a member of the community who is a printer. Okay, they said that they would help in formatting a newsletter, and this newsletter is going to support itself. Because one of the things we're going to do is we're going to have space for advertisement. Local businesses, local contractors, anybody. Okay? Hopefully out of that what will happen is, and I think another important service that, well actually that's the next page. How can the association help the members? The newsletter is a source of information. We will always have representation at the town council meetings, even during the winter. And if anybody read the Tuckerton Beacon, they want to know what's going to happen in the winter, if this is going to die down. They might not get 100 people at the meeting, but they're going to get 10 people who are going to let 100, 200, 300 people know what's going on. So now they're not dealing with 2 people who show up to the meeting. They're dealing with a group of people, and they're going to have to be more responsible for what they do. Another thing that I was thinking about is how many people have the horror stories about contractors? We hear information that you have a job done, you put down a deposit, and the guy skips town. Or somebody's not doing work. I hear those stories all the time. If that's true, it hasn't happened to me, but if it's true, you report that to the association. The association knows who it is. If you have a contractor who does great work for you, you report that to the association. You let them know how satisfied you are. This way, if somebody who doesn't know something about bulkheads, or someone who doesn't know anything about plumbing or electricity, all they have to do is say, I need this work done. Who can I go to? We have a list of people who are satisfied by certain contractors, and we can say, we've had no problems with this guy, why don't you try him? See what kind of price you can get. That's an effort that the association is going to do to the people who are members. I think that's a good idea. That alone could save you hundreds of dollars. So I think that makes the $25 worth it. This is probably the most important thing, and I touched upon it before. Permanent residents or people who are registered voters in the borough of Tuckerton. Out of the first 150 members that we acquired in the past 3 weeks, 50 of them are registered voters. And if there's one thing that's more important than money down here or anywhere, it's registered voters. Okay? If 50% of the people turn out to vote, they vote, and it's the other 50% who complain. That's the way it always works. Well, if we organize the registered voters in this town, and I'll tell you right now, if it's 50% of the amount of people, we're talking about 600 homes. And some homes, well most homes, if it's a couple, have 2 registered voters. That adds up to a lot of votes. That makes politicians listen. And that's another strong point that we're trying to accomplish. Another thing is maybe having a say in major projects that happen in our community. A couple of years ago, there was a group called the Save the Lagoons Committee. Okay, they got the ball rolling on something that could have been the best thing that ever happened to Tuckerton Beach. It turned out a couple months ago to be the worst thing that ever happened to Tuckerton Beach, which in turn might have started the best thing that ever happened to Tuckerton Beach, which is this. They started a campaign to get the lagoon stretched. A lot of people were in favor of it. A lot of people weren't in favor of it. To say that you're not in favor of dredging lagoons because you don't have a boat is a homeowner's prerogative. But what makes your home valuable? The water in front of the house. If you don't have a boat, and they dredge in front of your house, and they dredge so boats can get out of your lagoons, it makes your house more valuable. You will profit from it if you sell your house. And that's why you have to pay for it as a homeowner. Now, it turned out that, from what I've been told, the town wanted proof that there was a problem. The Save the Lagoons Committee supplied that proof in signatures. A majority of the people wanted the job done. So Tuckerton took the job over. They said they were going to get it done. That's when the plans got changed, because they didn't get permission from the state. And the the Save the Lagoons Committee, from what I've been told, didn't oversee it. I'm not saying they should have overseen it, okay? But if something like that ever happened and the association caused it to happen, meaning that we found out that the group of people needed something done and we asked to have it done and it was going to get done, believe me, nothing's going to happen in front of my house, behind my house ever again unless I know what the permit says and how it's going to happen. Because then I can be responsible instead of letting someone else be responsible for me. So that's what I hope is another thing that the association will accomplish. And the last thing is, at least the last thing I know at this time, is to make public the problems that confront us so that they get the attention that they need. In September, August, maybe even August, Anchor Lagoon was getting creamed last year, okay? Some of them complained. Some of them might have complained on their own. Some of them wrote letters on their own. They got dumped on. And then kingfisher got dumped on. And then heron got dumped on. Then flamingo got dumped on. So what did the people on Anchor by themselves accomplish? Not much, because nobody listened to them. Meaning the people who were running the job and some of the other residents, they figured out, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't matter. Okay? Well, it wound up affecting most of us anyway. And it's our own fault for not stopping it when we could have. We don't want that to happen again. And I think that's the most important reason, next to the registered voters, that the association is going to try to accomplish. I think I'm done.
Good discussion.
I guess what we'd like to do now is open it up to public discussion. 1 second. I'm going to do it the way they do the town council meeting because it's the only way I know how to do it. What we'd like to do is every person talk for 3 minutes, okay? Hopefully you'll get an answer right away. And then you got to state your name and your address so we can record it and we know who you are. And then also, what we want to do is, once you're done, everybody else who hasn't been picked yet has to get picked before we come back to you. So don't feel like anybody's being avoided. Everybody who has something to say will get a chance to say it today.
Anthony, when's the next council meeting?
Raise your hand.
No, but I mean,
I'm only kidding.
is that Monday because they didn't have it last Monday?
Yes, they did. They had a meeting Wednesday. They had a council meeting this past Wednesday.
It wasn't advertised.
They had it.
They had advertising.
It wasn't advertised.
I don't know that, but see, if a Monday,
Oh, back in
Oh,
June.
that's nice. Okay.
oh yeah.
So I don't get
Oh, well, so one thing you have to know is on a Monday, if it turns out to be a holiday, they usually, at least in the past 2 3-day weekends, they moved it to Wednesday.
I would have
Right?
gone.
That's something that we will be able to let you know when the time happens, because we'll keep in touch with it.
Yeah. Frank Fain, 82 Curlew Road. This isn't a question, I think it's an acknowledgement. We're here at the fire department, the volunteer fire department today, and I don't know how that came about, but I think it's important to acknowledge that we're here, they open their doors to us, and I know I get something in the mail all the time asking for a donation from a lot of different organizations, and apparently this organization is responsive to us at a time when we don't have an emergency, so I think we should thank whoever, formally thank someone through the secretary.
Just so you know, if you don't know already, they were running a 50-50 so that they can get a donation from us later on if anybody's interested. We can't hear you. Want to step up? If anybody wants to come back here, if you can't hear from all the way back there, feel free. All right, just 1 second. All right, let's. I'm going to start. I'm not going to do this today. I'm going to start from the front and go back. It's the only way I know how to do it. Okay? We'll start here.
My name is Mary Hudak from Little Lake Harbor Boulevard. I just have a quick question. Does the association have the addresses of the summer residents, their winter addresses?
If you look at
You should have it,
if you look at the application, some thought went into the application when it was done.
so that we could be notified for
Right.
something during the
There's
winter.
permanent. She doesn't have the application in her hand. If you see the application, it says your address in Tuckerton and your other address.
Okay.
That other address, or if it's only one address, will go on the mailing list so that the information can be sent to you. Right? And what I hope to get out of this is that you know who your block captain is, and you let your other neighbors who aren't here know it. And we do need more block captains. Heron Road is a very long road. Kingfisher Road is a very long road. Okay? The other side of Green Street, the roads are a little bit smaller, so it's, we'd like it so that each block captain only has to be responsible for maybe 20, 25 homes instead of 100. Because 100 homes is tough to go, around and hand stuff out.
My name is Mary Ann Mackenzie. I'm from 89 Curly Road. I was handed the association's card this morning, and I just would like to say that I presently, just for you that don't know me, I live in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. We are only summer residents here. But I have been involved with the DEP since 1972. I'm also a state permittee in the state of New Jersey, and I'm involved in the Environmental Protection Agency as far as being a permittee. I'm also a student attorney, and I hope in another few years to, once I finish my studies, accomplish that goal as well. But I want to let you know that this morning I was handed this membership card, and what I'd like to tell you, especially from doing work with DEP and other government officials, is that when you leave here today, don't put it away. Show your strength. Put it somewhere in your front window where it's going to be seen, where the people here know that you are a member of this association and that you stand firm and strong as an association.
I attended the last meeting, and the last meeting, the committee had said they were going to look into the lighting problem of the markers for the pipe at the end of the lagoon.
They did a good job on it, didn't they?
And I also noticed there was a fresh soda bottle out on mine. I ran during July and August, and 3 of my residents who rented from me have hit that pipe and done damage. It's not marked at all, not even for daytime use. And I'd like to know if they said that if you could, they said they would look into it.
No, okay, nobody has said anything to me, and the first meeting that after I saw what they had out there, I said it was a disgrace on what they did. I mean, to put 2 beach balls out there in different colors is ridiculous. If you have somebody come from another part of New Jersey with a boat to see you at night, and you don't know their company, you don't get a chance to tell them, they're going to hit the damn thing. Right? And I told them that. Okay? And look what they did. Okay? That's knowing that something like this is forming, and that's the kind of response you get. Just imagine if I just went there up by myself and I said, hey, what are you doing? This is ridiculous. You think they would have listened to me then? That's how hard it is to deal with them. We asked them to let the residents know when we should move our boats. The contractor went around and handed out, every home in Tuckerton Beach handed out a piece of paper saying, move your boats. That was 4 weeks ago, and he's still in Little Lake Harbor. So somebody who has to remove their boat and it costs $400 to do it would have removed their boat and it'd be out of the water now for 4 weeks while he's not even coming by their house.
I know, but they did say that they were going to look into it and get back to you, and now that meeting was a month ago. And I'm wondering if they got back to you as of yet.
They have not gotten back to me.
They've not only not looked into it, but the situation has gotten worse. There used to be 2 markers at the end of Kingfisher Road where they come right in. Where the pipe comes in and crosses, there's one there outside the lagoon now. There's nothing to tell you where that pipe crosses. And I myself have come close to hitting it and know it's somewhere in there.
How do we?
Yeah, one of the ways we can handle that is to make a motion that we do a formal complaint through the association We can take a second on that motion and we'll vote for it, so that when that letter comes from our secretary signed by Anthony, that it has everyone's full approval. And it's not just one person complaining, it's the whole group of us here.
If I'm not mistaken, if we do send them a letter and inform them that we do want them to take action, that they hired this company, and that they have not looked into it, and any damages will be incurred to them, I think that's legal.
I think that's what they said.
Right? Yeah.
Excuse me, at the July meeting, spending the council, somebody asked the question, and his answer was, wait a minute, tell all the people out in the bay, come to Tuckerton, we'll fix your boat. And I got up and I said, you know, the guy asked you for a simple answer as to where he can go for help. He doesn't have to take a lie detector test, so what are you trying to tell him? So he says he was sorry, he answered too fast. But the final answer by him was that a machinery was going to be set up to go and file a complaint if you have damage to your boat or your engine. So that supposedly is in force at this point. So I would advise you or anybody who knows of anybody that didn't attend that meeting to go to the town hall and find out what is it they have to fill out. Because that was supposed to be, and that's a matter of record.
Well, they haven't got back to him yet. I don't even think they have that.
Well, we're going to make a formal, all right, let's make a motion, and if any, to say that, we're going to make a formal. Frank.
Frank Machowski, 157 Flamingo. I don't know, is there a member of the town council who has joined us today? Or the mayor? Is anyone? Are they, how did, Anthony, just a question. How do they, have they accepted our association? They know of our association? Okay, has anyone, have we invited them?
Yes, you did.
I invited Mr. Goheen and Mr. Ventresca to join the association. Okay? And one of them has said that they want to join. That was Mr. Goheen.
Mr. Goey.
I haven't seen Mr. Ventresca since then.
And I think it might, we might make a point of inviting them anytime we do have a membership meeting.
Without a doubt.
Ask them to come. Whether they choose to come or not, it's up to them. We can't force them to do a thing. But that's what I want to know before we make the motion, if there was anyone here to address the question without making the motion. Go ahead. Thank you.
Bill Sofield, 28 Angle Road. How many voters do we have in this room?
No, registered in
Registered in Tuckerton.
You're going to register. Is that the point you wanted to make?
I just wanted to see how many people.
I'm telling you, there are a lot of registered voters in Tuckerton Beach. It's just unorganized. But I want to make that motion about we're going to make a formal complaint or formal notice to the town council that we requested at an August meeting when there was 100 people at the meeting, that the stuff wasn't marked properly, and that we insisted, and I said in the exact words I said, if somebody damages their boat, who's going to be responsible for it? And if it would turned out to be the town, our tax dollars are going to wind up paying for the damages. So I told them that, and they said it would be taken care of. And then, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make a formal complaint to the Coast Guard, to the town council, and I want to make a motion for that. If someone wants to second it,
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to want the situation. I don't think you can.
No, the motion's been made.
Oh, okay.
You want a second?
Second would be fine.
All in favor?
Aye. All against? Dennis Colvin, C-O-U-L.
Seems like we're all the same person here.
No, I'm Joe. It's my brother. The baby.
I got a lot of people with questions. All right, go ahead.
Oh, I just want to mention the fact that at that July meeting, our attorney, who was handling the lagoons, which has nothing to do, like he said, with your $25, but he made it known to the mayor at that time that he sent him a letter, and that letter was supposed to be forwarded to the bonding company who was responsible for this whole job. And the reason was that down the line, we don't know tomorrow or next week or next month, there will be damages filed. So that much, they do know. They have a formal complaint from our attorney on that situation. But this here now, second and bottom, we'll make that as a matter of the members themselves.
I think it applies to all of it, not just mine.
Well, I said, wait a minute, hold it right now before I get people mad. I said I was going to go from the front to the back, from this side to that side. I'm not skipping people. Go ahead.
My name is Frank Walski. I live in Masquerade, but I have a house on 376 Kingfisher. The town must have an engineer. Do they or don't they?
They do, I think.
If they have an engineer, the committee has to be bonded, and so does he. Does the contractor have bonding?
Yes, he does.
If he has bonding and he didn't pay attention to the DEP permits, he's liable, or the town's bonding company is liable.
That's right.
I just happened to have a friend stop by back in my house today on Kingfisher, and where I was supposed to have 4 feet, or what I was told 4 feet at low tide, his depth visor is either wrong or I got 2.5 feet.
That's without a doubt.
If they didn't pay attention, or the contractor didn't pay attention to the specifications in the permits, he's liable, and I don't think himself or anybody in here, anybody in Tuckerton, should pay for his mistakes. I have never heard of a contractor making a mistake and then we have to bail him out. These politicians are poo-pooing us, or perhaps they're inept. I have, in the past 4 or 5 years, most of the people down here that I've talked to are very nice. I have only had 1 or 2 remarks, and I think they were in jest about being a weekender. However, I think the politicians should be told that if we're a taxpayer in the state of New Jersey, or a voter in the state of New Jersey, we should be recognized as somebody in New Jersey, or we can split votes, 1 vote up north, 1 vote down south. It doesn't really matter. I don't think they're taking us serious.
I can't tell you that we can legally do that yet, but it's being worked on.
Is someone going to look into the bonding?
Well, my question,
That's what you were saying before.
That's what I just said.
Initially, what happened?
At the July meeting, the attorney answered that question, if the mayor was notifying the bond company. So officially, he said, if you sent me the letter, I must have taken care of it. But he didn't say yes or no, he just says that...
Who approves? I never measured out behind my place.
There's a survey. There's a licensed surveyor who did the pre-job survey, okay? Then the job was supposedly complete, and there was a post-job survey. I have that information, okay? We requested it, we got it, okay? We know where the depths are deficient, okay? That's why the dredger is back re-dredging, okay? It is being taken care of now, and then it's going to have to be surveyed again, and we have to be satisfied with it. And that's only happened for one reason. Okay? I just want you to know that. You're in trouble.
Anthony, tell them they have an engineer on the dredge with the...
Oh, that's right. They now have an engineer on the dredger because we demanded it. We don't want... The engineers are supposed to be directing this job, and they have to take care of it.
My name's Gene Oliver. I live at 104 Curly Road. At low tide, from my bulkhead, I have about 18 foot of mud. I can't put a boat in front of my boat.
I know it well. I know exactly where you live, and I know it well. Now let me explain another thing that had to do with the original state permits. They were not supposed to violate a 25-foot setback from the bulkhead, okay? He was supposed to maintain a 4-foot channel down the middle of the lagoons. I'm sorry, a 70-foot channel down the middle of the lagoons, 4 feet deep at mean low tide, right? He was supposed to contain any mud that he dumped from going to the sides, and he did not do that, all right? People have lost a lot of depth in front of their docks. You being one of them, because we have pictures of him dumping in front of their house. All right? And what has to happen is the DEP is coming back in, it's inspecting those sites, and he's going to have to dredge from the dock lines on some houses. And that's happening now. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Oh!
Short, but I got one on. First of all, I'd like to compliment you on setting up this association. I'm a resident of 5 Anchor Road. However, I am not a homeowner on the Comparative Handicap Road. I understand earlier you said you've been coming down here since you were 1. That's about 30-something years. I've been coming down since I was 4. I'm coming down 35 years. My basic concern is the membership. I just reviewed your bylaws, and I'm a little concerned. In order to be a member, you have to be a resident, whether it be somewhere or home. Does that mean you have to be a taxpayer down here, or does membership qualify as the immediate son or daughter of the parents that live down here? The reason why I'm bringing this up, much of what's going to be benefited from this association, if it goes the way people want it to be, are going to benefit the sons and the daughters and grandchildren. I have a lot I can bring into this association, but I cannot do it unless I'm a member. Right. I am an immediate member of the family. Does that qualify?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to make a motion then, I'll give my $25 as soon as I get home, that the bylaws be amended to define membership as the immediate sons and daughters of the homeowner. This doesn't say that.
You mean as opposed to having, instead of the homeowner, the son can be
The homeowner, the taxpayer,
It's family. It should be family. Well, that's why. Okay.
He can make all jam this place just to get things his way. Making all kind of motions over here. How do we know these are legal motions? You're passing them. You're gonna go ahead, Mike, go ahead and make a motion to spend this amount of dollars. You say fine. You go ahead and spend $400. You find out the guy's not even a registered member.
Well, that's why that's not happening right now. Okay, that's a motion. It's a valid motion. Somebody want to second that?
I second. Now it's open to discussion.
Okay.
What's his name?
Could you say your name for her?
Phil Sanfilippo on 5 Anchor Road.
5 Anchor Road.
One other thing I'd like to
What is
point
this,
out
Sanfilippo?
Sanfilippo.
Sanfilippo.
On the card that you're issuing to the people, there's no number or point of contact on there. I'd like to make a motion
That's
that...
what the newsletter is going to be for. Yes. Well, wait a minute. I don't want to. You don't have to sit down. Is there a problem with that?
Well, the newsletter is down the road.
Well, let me explain something else. I made 1,000 copies, okay? And I went door to door, and I had helpers go door to door, handed out information with block captains' names, with block captains' addresses, okay? Out of 600 people, 600 homes in this community, maybe 6 people have come to my house. I had to go to everybody. And I'd like to make a statement now that I would like people to start coming to the block captains, because this is not something that's going to be done by 10 people. We need help, okay? We have some block captains on your side. We need a lot more. And if you can help, I'd appreciate it.
I live at 16 Carroll Avenue, and I want to know who my block captain.
We have a block captain on Carroll right now.
I'm a summer resident.
I know this.
22 Carroll.
22.
I got it. Yeah.
Carroll's on the other side.
Behind these.
Benjamin Watson, 22 Carroll.
You know, 22 Carroll, Benjamin Watson.
Okay. Carroll's talking about the business on Big Fisher Run. You haven't said anything about Carroll Avenue and are they going to trade Carroll? Because that was the one that seemed to be the problem. We cannot get our boat out.
Just so you know now, the other side of Greece Street has nothing to do with this lagoon dredging project. And I wasn't a part of it when it started. And I don't know why. Or actually, when it originally started, I don't know. That's why we don't know these answers, and it's our own fault, because we weren't involved in it. When the original job was supposed to start, it was only supposed to be 3 lagoons. Little A, Curlew, Flamingo. When the town took it over, they said, we're not going to just do 3 lagoons. Plus, the people on Kingfisher, they signed a petition and said they wanted to be dredged too. So then it included Kingfisher and Anchor. Okay, that's how that expanded from 3 lagoons to 5. I guess your side didn't get involved because nobody did it. Nobody said anything about it.
At the time they had the petition going around the street a couple of years ago, there were a lot of people on the street who did not have boats, who didn't sign how to dredge, like we have. The majority of people now have moved in, all have boats, and we have a problem getting our boats out.
I was up and down those lagoons. I'm sure you saw me yesterday. I mean, I know what you got on that side. It's just that has nothing to do with the lagoon dredging issue that's happening now. That's something that'll have to be looked at.
Is that going to be another issue, or is that?
If you and the people on your side consider that an issue, it's an issue, if you remember.
Well, I have a councilman that lives next to me.
You have 2 councilmen
I
that
have
live
2
on your street.
councilmen that live on my street.
It shows you the representation you
Well,
get.
that's the representation you
But
get.
that could be an issue down the road, yeah.
I mean, are they getting on to our side?
We're gonna find that out real soon, otherwise, all the voters raise their hand again, and we'll see how much of a help they're gonna be. Because the votes is what matters. Yeah, all right. We have, on that motion that was raised on the membership, we had a motion, it was second, and it has to be open to discussion, or a vote. If everybody agrees with the fact that we want to include one of the memberships is, membership requirements is being a member of the family. But what the immediate family,
Second and third and 15 cousins.
right, it has to be, it's only one member per, one membership card goes to one household. That's what the purpose is. You can't have 13 members in one house, members of the association. What you're saying is you can have 20 people come from one house. It's not going to be like that. Each house is a membership.
Each house has one vote.
Exactly. I don't care who in the house is.
Well, then you save me $25.
I was going to say that to you before. I was going to say.
That's what I thought he meant.
I was going to say if you want to give us $225, I'll be glad to take it. But it's one membership per household. In your case, 2 if you want to pay.
Year-round renters?
Are there any renters that are here?
Year-round.
Well, one of the questions that was just brought up is if somebody's renting a home and they're down there for the summer, can they be a member? Well, that's something that the association has to do. Who should be a member is the person who owns that house. So, I guess we'll make a motion. Can I do that? Somebody has to make a motion that to be a member, for a household to be a member, it has to be a homeowner of that particular home to be a member. Somebody make that motion. Stand up, state your name. You got that? Say it again. And who? H-U-M-E? What's your address? Anybody want to second that motion?
Let's discuss it first.
Don't you second it? All right, let's discuss that issue about to be a member, you have to be a homeowner.
Or a family member.
No. You have to be the homeowner of the particular home can apply for membership. That's what the motion is. Does anybody have an opinion on that? Besides the fact that, yes, that's the way it's going to be.
No, or immediate family.
Each home should be represented.
Yes, that's what I mean.
One vote per house.
One vote per house, that's what the vote
The reason for that is also, you have absentee homeowners here that have 3 or 4 properties, but it's only going to be one property. He's not going to have 4 votes.
All right, well, here's the discussion on that issue. Go ahead.
If you own 4 properties, you pay 4 memberships, you should have 4 votes.
Now, there's the question. That's another question. If you own 4 properties, should you pay 4 memberships? Yes.
You pay 4 times taxes.
To get 4 votes. To get 4 votes.
As a property owner, you get 4 votes.
I'm losing control here.
And the other thing, one day you go back to work, you have a letter of authorization, and the owner of the residence is a member, and they want you to represent them.
That's what, I have no problem with that.
That's the way that should be.
I gotta get some new people to talk. Is this on this same issue?
Yes.
Go ahead.
My name is David West, for 69 Anchor Road, 2 times past president of the Rolling Acres Civic Association of Hamilton Township. I think what you're going to have to do here is to get a small committee together take these recommendations from the various different people here and come up with a revised version of your Constitution.
That's without a doubt. That's definitely why I want.
Instead of making motions and voting on them now, that is my recommendation. Because you're going to get a lot of conflicting motions going here, and this is going to turn into a double.
I like that idea because number one, I said these were preliminary, they do have to go to the lawyer. And number two, that's something that we can do through the mailing. Members, there are also people here who aren't members, okay? And they shouldn't be voting unless they're a member. So what I propose is that when we get these ideas written down, we come up with some kind of form and we can go to the membership for a vote through the mail, and you can mail it back to the post office box and let us know how you feel. That can be tabulated, and that's how we're going to decide how it happens. Then the next meeting we'll have, we'll let you know what the tabulation was, and then I guess we'll approve everything. I keep seeing the same hands. I have to.
Hey, you keep on mentioning about one vote.
I just say his name.
Jerry Schultz, 478 Hacker Road. You keep on mentioning about one vote. How are you going to regulate this one vote? And what is this one vote going to be for? What's it going to be, a secret ballot or something?
No, well, for instance, okay, let's say an election comes up for an officer. You can't have 6 members in one household and then let them get 6 votes for the officer.
You're going to look into that, because supposing I can't be here, but the other member of my house...
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. That's fine.
That's good. So also want to say, the young fellow over here, young fellow... But if he's not the parents of the house, if he's just a member of the household, he can go there and vote. Is that what you're saying?
If he's voting for his parents.
I don't know how you're going to control that.
What do you think? You got one number for us.
I run on the assembly.
Anthony?
Go ahead.
Anthony, I think that vote should be in the name of the owner.
And whether somebody represents that person or not, that's up to the homeowner.
And the control will be, as that vote comes in, it pertains to that one house. And that gets checked off as one.
I remember...
If you put it in or your wife puts it in, it doesn't matter. But that one house is checked off as one vote, and that's it. You can't come back twice. The person who owns the address.
Anthony, there's a control right here. Everybody got a membership card, has a number. That's one number, one vote.
We know each household, when you start the application, we issued a card and we wrote the card number on your application. We know how many cards were issued. We know who the homes are. There is not, if we have 150 members, there's only 150 votes. Who makes the vote from that house is up to that house. That's how I think.
That's only for like a written vote or anything, but here, anybody can vote. I can vote if you can vote anytime.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, she telling me that I can vote anytime you say something here, but she can't.
I see what you're saying. Hold on. I see what you mean.
Will O'Connell, Sunday Little Lake Harbor Boulevard. This question of voting, I think really has to go to committee.
I think it does.
It has to come back as a recommendation the next meeting, because you're wasting an awful lot of time.
I know, I don't want to start losing people on one issue.
Okay, very good.
This definitely has to be decided. It's not in concrete yet. It has to be decided. Okay? I mean, I don't know how to leave it to satisfy people. I got a good idea. I said I was going to have an answer if something like this happened. And here's what my answer is. If you're a member already, and that you obviously you brought up a good point, would you like to be involved in a committee to try and solve this problem? Either one of you.
Yes, your answer right here. I'm a member already, okay? It's my son. I don't want to run for any position, but being I pay the dues, if I want to run for somebody on trustee, can you run?
I would say right now, yes. I would say right now, yes. That's how I see this.
Something for you to think about.
I agree. The way I see this right now, the answer is yes to that question. But now what Mr. Schultz is saying is, that's fine in those kind of boats. But when you have a group of people like this, you could have 2, 3, 4 people from one house here. All 4 of those people should be able to vote. Only one of them should be able to vote. Correct? And I agree with that too. I think only one of those. And how do we control that? That's something we're going to have to work out. And that's going to have to be in the bylaws. All right, I want to get up.
I mean, on a writing vote, yes, but not at a general membership meeting. If a person has to have somebody here that's a member of their family, they can come here and have a hand raised.
But only one from the house.
Well, you're not going to control it. You don't know that. You're not going to control that.
All right, well, we're going to have to discuss that. You know who I am, and we can discuss that. We're going to have to get people involved in that. All right, let's go on to something. I want to hit people who haven't talked yet.
Nancy Garber at 21 Angler Road. To settle this problem, I think what you want to do now is form a committee that will address all these questions.
We're going to do that. I just said that. Okay. Right there.
Debbie McMoney, 83 Dalton Road.
You have to talk up.
Debbie McMoney, 83 Dalton Road. What can be done about restoring the beach down Tuckerton? I can remember coming here and being able to go swimming down there. What can be done? Is that going to be an issue or what?
With respect to the beach right now, did you read the Tuckerton Beacon article on the window there when you came in?
Yeah, I did.
Read it on the way out. It addresses that. But I'm going to explain to you anyway. There used to be a beach there. The property is owned by the borough of Tuckerton. It's an issue that we're definitely going to address. And I'll let you know right now, there are some people in favor of it, and there's some people against it. I'm not going to get into the reasons why, but it's an issue, and it's definitely something that's going to be addressed. That's why, if you look at the application, one of the things I ask for is if you're a registered voter and if you have kids.
Yeah.
Because the kids is what that's for. They told us we can't have a swimming lake in town, so then we want a swimming lake on the bay, since they say that's the cleanest water on the Jersey coast.
Yeah.
That's an issue.
Never mind the kids. We're retiring. And I like that. Very sallow, Road. You say children and grandchildren. Never mind the kids. I'm a retiree.
Good. I know the point. You're right. I'm sorry. Yes. I gotta go. Yeah, I'm going here. Yes. 326.
Now, I want to know, what about the trash? When it comes around, they won't pick up anything. No sofas, no refrigerators, not even anything small.
That was a big issue at the last town council meeting.
They stayed there for years and years and years.
I just want you to know that the person on the town council who's in charge of garbage pickup is a Tuckerton Beach resident. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. He's a councilman. His name is Mr. Gold. Right? We addressed that at the last town council meeting. And there's a lot of issues with that too. They said that the dump was supposed to be open right across the street here on Saturdays in July, and it wasn't. And we asked them why. And I got the usual answer. It was a mistake. It should have been. They didn't know.
And the average.
No, we wasn't doing it. Pick it up and go bring it over here.
That's right. That's how it was right now. One of the things we want to work for is bulk pickup. We deserve it. We deserve bulk pickup.
That's why we're here. This is why we're here. You're not going to speak alone anymore.
You won't be speaking alone anymore. That's definitely.
We know that. That's a story.
What was that question you had before? Did that?
The extra money contract. Gene Holiday, 104 Curlew Road.
104?
104, yeah. The extra money the contractor's getting for this dredging. It keeps digging at me. We're paying for this. The Tuckerton Beach residents are paying for this dredging. But how come we're not having it done the way we want it done?
Thank you. You're right. I said that. The contract, the reason why the contractor, this particular contractor was picked, this is what I was told at a meeting, is because he was the lowest bidder. Okay, and I happened to get something to work the other day, and I thought this was very apropos. The sentence right here is, if price is the main consideration in your buy decision, you better reconsider. The reason? you're costing your company thousands of dollars in rework, warranty costs, inspection, and testing. That's what we're paying for now, rework. All right? Well, I should say that's what they think we're paying for. All right? So you're right.
Any estimate on what we're charged?
They're up to about, the other bid was around $300 and something thousand, and he came in at 166, and he got the bid. Okay? He got the job. We're now they tell us we're approaching anywhere from 225 to 250. So we're getting right back up to that 366 that was originally bid. So that's something we got to keep track of.
How many households are in Tuckerton Beach?
600 approximately.
So you're talking $1,000 or so a household?
No.
We don't know yet. That's another issue.
You gotta find out which ones are paying for it. They're all not gonna be taxed for it.
Yeah.
Only the ones benefiting by the bridge. Because
You want to address
on the
this issue?
bay and the south or west side of Green Street aren't paying. The ones that are affected by it, that use the inlets to the lagoon where it's been dredged, will be the ones that will be affected by it.
Ed, what?
If you want an experience, please, some night go to a council meeting, because it's something that you have never experienced again in your life.
You won't sleep.
You get up and you talk. The mayor told one of the members, or one of the people that got up, man stated his name, and the mayor said, "Are you a voter?" The guy says, "No." He says, "Next." That's what you hear. And he said, "I think I made a mistake." But now, they double talk you, you listen, they listen to you, you have a question, and you ask the question. They all sit like Charlie McCarthy's. Nobody talks. And there's nobody answers you. They don't tell you. You say to one commissioner who is supposed to be in charge of garbage, police or something, he just shrugs his shoulders. You don't know what's going on. We go to the meetings, and there's a lot of you people have never been to a meeting here. But if for an experience, go sometime. You'll learn a lot.
Are you registered?
No, I'm not. I can't talk.
Okay, that's right.
That's right.
That's exactly right.
I must argue with that.
Well, excuse me, but this year, we are registered.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Let him in.
You got 600 homes that you're talking about. Why not have half these people, wherever they're registered, register here?
That's what we're doing.
A wife or a husband.
We're looking at that.
That's the answer.
Is it legal? I don't know.
Yes, it is legal.
Are you a lawyer?
Pardon me?
Are you a lawyer?
No, I'm not a lawyer.
Well, that's what I mean. I agree with you 100%, but I'm not going to tell somebody to do that.
The tennis law, 300 voters.
I think I said that before. I said that
I hear you
before.
say that.
I don't know if it's legal.
Now, I want to be heard just like this gentleman says. You get registered. I'm registered.
Just hold. Let's let me know one thing. When I started going to the meetings, it's only when the present mayor has been mayor. And he's never stopped me from talking, and I haven't witnessed anybody stop from talking who is a taxpayer and who was there. I've heard horror stories about the last mayor and how he used to shut people up. That hasn't happened to me yet, and I can't comment on it because I haven't seen it happen. But if you're a taxpayer and you live down here in the summer or all year round, you have a right to say something at that meeting.
That's right.
Right?
You pay taxes.
And we've done it since February. Right? And this mayor, and I don't want anybody here going away thinking that this mayor has told people to shut up because he hasn't done that. So,
They've asked if you've been.
he's talking about Mayor Mathis. He's not talking about Mayor Ballard. Okay? And I don't know Mayor Mathis. I was never at any of those meetings. Ed, what do you want?
Tony, getting back to the bid bond situation. You know that bid bond is not enforced and has not been enforced ever since they stopped towing. You understand that? The bid bond protects us.
That's right.
And it has not been enforced. Now, what have they gained out of it? They gained all the time that this has been going on. It's not been applied against that bid bond.
Because we wanted to give them a chance to rectify the problem.
We shouldn't have, and I'll tell you why. That bid bond protects us with
It
a
still does.
monetary amount, $166,750, and what it protects us.
It still does protect us.
But if it's turned off, it doesn't protect
We
us.
have a year until the completion of the contract before that bid bond is no longer in force.
Suppose they say they complete it, say, in 2 months from now.
Then the mayor's in violation because he was notified to tell the bond
That's
company.
right.
Now that's as of February. He got a letter. And as of the July meeting, he says, if you sent me the letter, I must have gotten it. I don't have it in front of me, but I took care of it.
The lawyer is taking care
Let
of
me
that.
finish it. And he says, tomorrow you will receive another letter from me about the February letter that I sent you. So the bid bond is still in force.
That's what they told you.
No, this is a matter of record.
I attended another meeting.
This is a matter of record as of the July meeting, and if you want to subpoena that tape, you're entitled to it, all right? Don't have it going out here that the bond company is going to be absolved of this here. They're not absolved until 1 year after the job is done, okay? And they're on record with our attorney that they're supposed to be notified as of February. That's
In
it.
the meantime,
No, there's no meantime.
wait a minute, in the meantime, they play games with this. You
Don't confuse the
understand
issue.
that.
You asked the question.
Hey,
And the question was that they would take care of it.
There were people here who don't like yelling. And I will discuss that with you.
Okay, may I say something to everybody? This, you don't know it, but you have, I'm sitting in that door, you have lost over 50 people already. This was supposed to be a Tuckerton Beach Association meeting. It has been a Lagoon Association meeting. You have lost a lot of people. Now, I don't
Let
know
me
if they're
ask you a
signed up.
question. I've been picking up hands, and people are talking about that. What am I supposed to do?
You're not supposed to do anything. I'm addressing everybody here.
I
You
think
people
you should have
came
a
for
special
a uniform, somebody, everybody, the whole beach. Am I right or wrong?
Right.
Okay, you better concern yourself with the Tuckerton Beach Association. You have lost a lot of people that you want to help you in the future.
I said that from the beginning. If anybody's got anything else, I mean, I can't control what the person
They
asks.
want to know everything. Taxes, water, sewer, streets. They want to know everything. You people back here, it seems that the people back here are the ones for the whole beach association. And, I mean, I'm for everything that you do. And I'm only sitting up here taking names, but I
appreciate
know
that.
what's going on
That's
back
what I'm
here.
saying. I don't want to
They're
lose
walking
people.
out like crazy. I don't even know if they're going to sign up. You want a whole association for everybody.
All right, who's got another issue? What's your address?
David Gorman, 285 Turner. At the council meeting, I guess it was the August one, we were all asked, a lot of comments were made about the harassment of maintenance ordinance that is code. Apparently, he issued 102 notices to Tuckerton Beach. The second wave is 88. The third wave, I don't know how many it was, but he was writing when I was in his office. And it seems to be all geared to Tuckerton Beach only. Maybe you have some information.
We talked to them about that. We said, that, true, there might be violations. But we never heard about summonses being issued like this ever. And all of a sudden, when the association started to happen, we were getting waves of violations. And we wanted to know, are you trying to intimidate us? Are you trying to harass us now? And they said that there were over 100 violations issued in the town of Tuckerton too, meaning upland or inland, whatever. And whether they are lying, I can't tell you that. All I can tell you is that they say those violations were issued. My understanding about these violations was that they concern high beams, unregistered boats, unregistered trailers, that kind of stuff.
It seems like one of the biggest eyesores of Tuckerton Beach would be the businesses, or the businesses that want to pump. Right, you know, right when we got on Green Street, especially go down Green Street, the biggest eyesores are those properties.
They got an excuse for that. They call that commercial property.
When you read the ordinance that they issue you, that you can, request, it doesn't distinguish between residential and commercial.
And they leave it up to the interpretation of the person who's writing. I agree with you. They leave it up to the interpretation of the person who's writing the summonses, and that's something we have to put our foot down on.
What did he say?
In the back.
My name is Jack Seifert.
brought up about the real estate and property taxes. A question that I may be ignorant of, I'd like to know if anyone has the answer. Is the millage rate and the assessment methods the same in Tuckerton Beach as it is in the rest of the borough? In other words, is there an equal taxation?
I can't answer that question right now, but they damn well benefit.
That's the question I think a lot of people would like to know. I hear a lot of guessing, not from the meeting, but elsewhere, where people think
Well,
each tax higher. I just want to know there's a lot of
that's something that definitely that's something that will definitely be checked into.
On the issue of 102 warnings,
yeah,
and I guess there's been more since then. How many of these warnings that were issued in other than the Tuckerton Beach area? 2.
Those 102 were in Tuckerton Beach.
Okay, have there been any others issued in
They
other
claim
areas
there
of
have.
town?
They claim there have.
Can you somehow get the figures on that?
We can get that from Nancy Speck. She's the council person who's responsible for that.
When I had spoke to her, she had indicated that 102 were issued and that was it. That's the figure that she gave me as a total.
That was 102 in Tuckerton Beach.
And we're all in Tuckerton Beach?
All in Tuckerton Beach.
Okay, because, you know, I'm not going to say that this is harassment or anything, because actually I can't. However, in the issue of my particular case regarding a horse trailer, the code official first stated that the reason that he issued the letter is because it was not registered. When I informed him that it was in fact registered, he started coming up with other excuses.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did.
I brought your case up at the meeting.
I have a summons right here for an individual who would have been my father-in-law. He's been deceased for 28 years, but he has to appear in court. Okay, the summons is right here. I mean, what's going on?
I take that to the next town council meeting.
I tell you right now, and I know from talking to you before that that is a big problem, and that's something that we're going to have to address too. And see, what's going to happen here is you're not going to see the same 10 people doing every single job. If there is a major problem that has to be addressed, a committee has to be formed. Participation is what's going to make this thing succeed. Okay? True, there are a lot of people who only come down on the weekends. I happen to be one of them. All right, and this is going to need a lot of support for permanent residents. And they're not going to be the only ones involved. I mean, I make the trip down here when it has to be made, when I'm not down here during the summer for council meetings or whatever. And I will be making the trips because it concerns me and it bothers me, and I am not going to be stepped on because I don't want to put up with that. And if something like that is a problem, we can have 2 or 3 people who say, all right, what are we going to do? You get that little committee to decide and say, we have to address this issue. Let's go to the town hall. Let's find out who got issued the summonses. Why were the summonses issued? Were they valid? Was someone really in violation of a code? We got to get that code book. We have to get that code book. That's one thing the association is going to have to do.
I do at home have a copy of the property maintenance.
I understand. I saw that. You showed it to me.
You know, basically, I had it right there in hand, speaking with the individual, and I'll tell you, I just flat out said it. I could, excuse me, I could interpret code.
That's right.
I read it right back to him. I said, where am I in violation? So I made the comment to him. If you don't like the fact that people have orange cars, are you going to cite them? He says, yes, I will. I said, the following week, green cars? He says, yes, I will. So apparently he is able to do anything he wants.
Anything he wants.
Interpret the code any way he wants. And the town just lets him go.
Because who has challenged him before? That's the problem.
I do not know.
People might have challenged him individually. There are a lot of horror stories with respect to this, and these are things, and this is the main reason why we have to do it as a group. Because you're not going to win by yourself.
Get him out of office then.
Well, that's
why we're here.
what happens.
That's why we're here.
I agree with you 100%, and that definitely has to be done. Without a doubt. Have you talked yet? Have you talked? You've talked. All right, go ahead a second.
Is the association going to take care of all the issues that were brought up today?
Without a doubt.
The roads, the beach?
Yes.
Right.
Let alone the...
But let me ask you a question. Let me tell you one thing right now. If you think that I'm going to do it all myself...
No, as a group.
As a group.
Let me tell you about a group. I've been doing this since July, And it took me, since July, to get a group of 10, 11 people, okay? We need more help. And whoever can afford the time to help, it's needed. There are a lot of issues that have to be addressed. Okay, I just want you to know that.
As long as they're all taken into consideration.
Of course they will.
Not the lagoon.
No, everything is general.
What do I have to do to convince you that the lagoons is not the only issue?
Well, everyone
Just stop
has a
talking
frame of
so.
mind that the discussion has been on the lagoons constantly.
If somebody stands up and asks me a question about the lagoon, am I supposed to say, sit down, I gotta talk to people about other issues? If it's important to them, I gotta let them talk. Let me see some new hands. I haven't seen that hand yet.
Charlie House, Kingfisher Road. This water and sewer we're paying, we're only down here during the weekend. In the summer, I'd say 4 months out of there, and yet I'm paying water and sewer for something I'm not even using. I'm getting charged for this all winter.
Why? You're about the 150 person who's either said that or written it down. That is a valid complaint, and I don't have an answer for you on that now, but it's definitely something that has to be looked at.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. We pay the same thing. I'm a summer resident also.
And a high assessment on the taxes there, Anthony. What we get assessed at?
School district too.
Does anybody, first of all, I don't know if you people know about the elementary school. Make sure I'm going to tell you about that before you leave.
I was at the meeting. I went to the meeting.
Go ahead.
Hi, this is Chelsea, 157 Blue Road. I think that perhaps a good idea would be, since you've gotten all the forms and you'll have more after today, that people write down what they feel their major issues are, that we try to get some kind of semblance of order and get those down so that we can decide what is really important that we want to go to our town council and say to them, these are the issues, the most important issues that we want to work on immediately.
That's why that form was designed like
Exactly, and I think that that's what we ought to be thinking about doing, and the next time or whenever we get to our block captains or whatever, to say these are the issues that we're going to go to our town council with.
That's how I want it to work.
And they will be prioritized in order. Those being the serious and so on down.
And that's not for me to decide what's serious. It's serious by, if there's 50 people that have this one problem and 20 people have this problem, obviously the 50 problem is the most serious. Or at least to the large group of people. I do not want to leave until we mention that school issue.
What's going to happen to that property on Green Street that had the beautiful windows there last night?
Isn't that an interesting question? Wouldn't you like to know that? I don't know at this point in time. I'd like to know also.
What property?
They want to know, remember the marina that used to be Tuckerton Marina on Green Street? It's now empty? If I lived around there, whether it was on that side or across the street from it, I'd wonder what was happening too.
Yeah, especially
So another marina that's vacant right across the street now from the trailer camp. That also that just went out recently.
It'd be nice to know what's going to happen there before it happens and it's too late.
Beverly Green of 252 Barron Road. Two of us have very serious problems down the end of our cul-de-sac. It floods, not only at high tide, but it flooded this past Friday night at 8 o'clock, about 10 to 12 inches. It's one thing not to get your boats out. We signed your petition to help the lagoon people because your property value depends on our property value too. If our streets flood like this, and I can't get my mother out to go to dinner at 8 o'clock at night because I can't get my car to drive to the Bay Water, and that's also going to depreciate your property value because nobody wants to buy Tuckerton Beach that floods. My husband and I have dabbled in real estate, and the realtors in the area are actually telling people not to go to Tuckerton Beach because of the floods. We do have a chance now. There are plans under work to help us out. There's only about 4 or 5 of us that are really affected. However, one of the main problems that's come up that the engineers have told us, people down the end of Heron Road now are complaining that they're afraid of street elevation at our end going to affect them. So now the engineers are changing plans back and forth. Can we meet with our block captains, everybody on Heron Road, road and keep abreast of
Obviously.
what's happening?
Obviously.
This is
What's
where
the
the committee is
procedure?
involved.
Should we meet with our block captain like after now, after
That's
this
right.
meeting?
That's right.
Exchange phone numbers so that we're not making the engineers crazy. 1 minute he's got it up to 12 inches, then he has it to 9 inches, then he has it to 7 inches, he's down to 3 inches. It's just incredible because people are calling him up and saying they're afraid now at the end of the street, beginning of the street, that they're going to be flooded out. This is misinformation. And we just don't want the steamrollers to come in.
That's
I
the
have 1
purpose.
inch, and I'll never get out.
That's the
We're still
purpose of
flowing down.
communication. Communication has to happen. And I tell you right now, like you talk about, people will say we're worried about the lagoons too much, we're not addressing other issues. If you think the coalition in the Middle East was hard to keep together, this is going to be harder. And I'll tell you why. They know it. They know how hard it's going to be to keep this together. All right? And it's only going to happen if we do it. And they're betting that it's not going to happen. All right? So if it doesn't happen, they're happy, and it's our fault, and we lose. That's all I can tell you. Right now, it's almost 1 o'clock. I'm sure some people want to leave. Obviously, some people didn't want to leave because they already left. And if somebody, see, the thing here is, if it doesn't affect me, I don't care, I'm leaving. That's a poor attitude.
50-50.
Right, the school. School. The school. Does everybody here know about the school issue? No. Bill, let them know what's happening with the school issue.
Several of us attended the school meeting. Several of us attended the school meeting, the school board meeting, when they came up for their appropriation for the $2,107,000 or so. We found out that they have 55 learning impaired students out of 270-some. It averages out to about 25%, and that's an awful lot of learning impaired. We also found out they have a ratio of about 1 teacher to 7 pupils, which is a little top-heavy. We also found out that they're teaching music during the day, when I think, personally, children should take music lessons after school. It's not something that's really that important to a child, although you got to be the child to go to a music lesson when I was small. And the whole thing is sort of padded up so that they want to get this built before the state mandates that all these learning impaired students are put back in the mainstream of the regular classes. Now they're putting 3 learning impaired classrooms just for the learning impaired. And if they put the children back in the mainstream, why, they'll have 3 extra rooms. So my opinion is that we ought to vote this down again and see what they come up with, a better idea to save money for the schools and for the township. I think a lot of things could be cut down.
We have the architect's report.
Bill, can I add something? Also on those plans, I was going over them. There are 3 child study teams. I'm a special education teacher. There's no reason that they need 3 child study team offices in a new building.
I asked the principal or whoever was giving the speech, who determines who's learning impaired, whether it was a state or a psychologist or what, and they said that they appoint certain teachers to be on the learning impaired team to determine it, so they can determine how many people they're going to have in special ed classes all the time. And I think a lot of the learning impaired could just be slow readers or somebody that doesn't pay attention all the time. I know when I went to school, if you didn't pay attention, they sat you beside your desk so they could reach you. You know, I think that.
Joan, she knows, she was at the
I
meeting
went to
also.
the meeting, Bill and Ralph were at the meeting, my husband and I think 2 newspapers, about 2 other people, teachers, and that was it. They had, huh?
He didn't say when the voting is.
Okay, the voting is this Tuesday at the elementary school. Absolutely nothing has changed from last year when we voted it down to this year. They've also said if they want to change things around, they have it written in there. Well, if we don't want to put this expensive roof on, we'll put a cheap roof on. They've got all this good stuff.
They didn't want to do away with the air conditioning because they said the school year is getting longer all the time.
Because they take so much
and
time
they need
off.
the air conditioning. And I suggested if they would cut out the holidays the long vacations and Easter and whatnot, where they have their winter vacations, that maybe the school year wouldn't be so long and it wouldn't need air conditioning. And 15 or so teachers sort of gave me a 30 bucks.
But it's this Tuesday. I don't know from what time. You'll have to call the school and find out. I know it's till 8 o'clock at night. Everyone that's registered, please go vote. I know how I'm voting. I'm not allowed to tell you how I'm voting. But it's the same exact issues of last year, and we turned it down last year. Please go out and vote. More tax dollars on you people if you pass. It's over $2 million for 13 roads.
Well, you got to close the meeting first. I think. Right. All right. So, who didn't talk? Your voice. I don't see a person here. Stand up and talk.
I want to know one thing. What is the proper time to nominate people for different committees?
Say that again?
What is the proper time to nominate people for different committees? Like, take for instance, I'm really here for the beach. I'm interested in everything else, but I really can't hear what that means.
Right.
I was one that was here with the beach chair.
Right.
And I'd like to know, when could I nominate a chairman for the beach committee?
You want to do that right now?
We're looking for volunteers for any committee.
No, you can't do that right now because everybody in here is not a paid member.
All right. What we'll have to do is, I'm going to talk to you after, and we'll work that out.
When is the next meeting?
Well, the other intent was to have quarterly meetings, all right? And we made it so that we'd have two during the time when people come down in the summer. One in September, and when were the other meetings? Was it May or April?
May and August. May and August.
May and August it is?
Right.
So two of the meetings can have a turnout like this, and hopefully if we,
We'll have the February and December. There's a lot of residents here. We could also have to turn.
And you will know what happens at a meeting because it will go out in the newsletter.
When is our next one?
That's what's got it. This is hard enough just to get this started. Things have to be worked out. Another question? The newsletter will be quarterly also. I don't want to cut anybody off. Okay.
Why don't you have a meeting for the beach? If you're going to talk about the lagoons, have that as a separate meeting so that everybody knows.
If somebody who is not concerned about one issue cannot sit through someone else's problem, then how can they expect someone else to sit through their problem?
Exactly.
All the problems involve everybody on the beach. I'm the lagoon, right?
What's that?
I have the lagoon.
Right.
I'm involved in that. But instead of the people who walked out because they didn't want to hear about the lagoons, if we have that issue alone, you know what I mean?
We can do that. That's true. But I'm not going to tell someone at a public meeting to sit down. Well, I should say a membership meeting to sit down because there's 30 people back there who don't want to listen to his problem. I'm not going to do that. No way.
People were so concerned they were stuck around.
We should stick together.
Who's that lady in the back?
My name is Rita Manley, and I live at 300 Covered Road. We plan to have a newsletter, so you said.
Right.
In the newsletter, you can announce what the meeting is going to cover, when you're going to have the meeting. Of course, the newsletter will also include whatever topics there are for discussion and what's happening and so on and so
Right.
on. But at that time, you can specify when you're going to have the meeting,
Right.
what the meeting is going to be about.
Right.
We will have an agenda.
That's right.
And you can also say at that time, we were mainly interested in lagoons, taxes, whatever.
That's right.
People who want to come will be there.
That's right.
If they don't want to come, they are not going to be there, whether it's for their taxes, or lagoons, the bakes and streets, the sewers, or whatever. You'll have an agenda. People know what you're going to discuss. You can always table a discussion to another time.
I agree with you. You've been raising your hand for a long time. I did what?
David West, Anchor Road.
Wait.
David West, Anchor Road. I think up with is a list of priorities for this association to deal with.
That's without a doubt.
Post this list or announce this list at the next meeting. And I think quarterly meetings, at least in the beginning, are going to be too far apart. We're going to have to do this a little sooner. We're going to space it out. We're not going to get anything done. It's going to land up taking a half a year, almost three-quarters of a year, before we can come up with specific issues to address to the township.
That's right. Actually, that's not right. There's issues that bother us right now that we're addressing to the township. Can I say one thing? I was told in July that this wouldn't happen, and it happened. Okay? It has. You got to let it progress. It's going to happen.
You got to crawl before you can walk. Don't hit us with too many things. We're not going to change it overnight. But we will be working on it. Now, I just want to answer the question on the quarterly meetings. Oh, I thought you were finished. I'm sorry. I thought you were finished. All right, go ahead.
Can you help with that? Can you help with that? All right, I would definitely like your name and address right here. Okay? Because I definitely want to talk to you. Okay, I appreciate that. Oh, wait, no, hold on. I went to her before.
I just wanted to say, you could also in a newsletter put out different topics and allot so much time for each topic.
Right. All right, this is the last one because people want to leave. And also, when the meeting's adjourned, they're going to draw for the 50-50, whoever's involved with that. Believe me, that's not the most important thing on some people's minds right now, but that's why it has to happen. I'm sorry, that's the last question right here. And if anybody wants to say anything afterwards, you know, the addresses are out there. You know where to go. Stop expecting people to always come to your house. Okay, that's an important thing I want to state. Go ahead.
I think everybody here is expecting miracles. You have to admit this is our first meeting. Obviously, this graduate is what started, what instituted it. You have to give these guys and some of us time to work on it. We just can't do it in the first meeting. We're hearing what the problems are, but we can't address them yet. And I move that we close this meeting.
I second the motion. I'd just like to close it with a thank you to all the people that were involved in getting it together. I think it was a hell of a first meeting.
And it's vice versa. I'd like to thank the people for the turnout, and I hope this shows that this is something that has been long overdue and has to happen and sustain itself. And anybody who walked out the door because they felt there was too much problems or too much talk about the lagoon, I hope anybody here who knows them goes back to them to tell them that I don't think that was very courteous, because they're going to have problems that they're going to want to talk about sometime, and they're not going to like it when people walk out on them. And just let them know, this is a coalition, just like I said before, and they're betting on it, and they're probably betting big bucks that this is not going to stay together. And if it doesn't, it's our own fault. That's it.